It's time for you to officially end your toxic relationship with social media because let's be honest, I know that it is draining your energy, your confidence, your time, and your productivity. Social media at the end of the day is always going to suck your creativity and it's always going to make you feel crappier after you go on it. Like, that's just how this stuff is going to work. And it's because of all the endless scrolling that you're doing, it's because of the comparison traps that you fall into. And lo and behold, before you know it, you are in this anxious state, in this sad state, and you're wondering why your life sucks so much. When I first got social media, I used it so much for validation. I remember I got Instagram when I was in post-secondary school, and as soon as I would post a photo on it, I would refresh the page for 15 to 20 minutes just to see who liked my photo. And if I felt like not enough people liked it, I would immediately go and delete my photo. Like, that is how toxic my relationship was. And I remember when I first started posting on social media just to educate people, raise awareness about mental health and all this goodness, I found myself in this place where I would constantly be double checking with other people and asking them over and over again, does this look better? Does this look better? What do you think about this video? What do you think about that? And just feeling so self-conscious. That is really what social media has made me feel and do over the time. And, I'm at this place now where I feel like I have a pretty healthy relationship with it and it doesn't affect me as much anymore. But I would constantly have FOMO. I would fall into the self-comparison trap. I would look at other people's stories and immediately right away start to feel like shit about my life. And I know you relate to that. When was the last time you ever went on social media and you're like, oh, I actually feel better after that? No, you usually feel worse because you are comparing yourself to someone's life, to someone's body, to the things that they have, and all of that junk. And so you need to learn how to take back power and control over your unhealthy social media habits so that you can put that time, energy, focus on the things that actually matter in your life. And one of the things I always say is look at how you can build such a big, beautiful, bold, incredible life outside of social media so that social media is just a really tiny part of it so that you literally forget to check your phone, to check Instagram, to check all of these things because the life that you have built for yourself is just so freaking incredible. It literally makes you forget about social media. That is how incredible a life that you should be focusing on building right now. So what are some signs that you, my friend, have a not so healthy relationship with social media and that it's literally destroying your brain health? Number one is you wake up and you immediately check your phone. Immediately check it. Literally one of the most toxic habits you can do because what you do in the morning is what sets you up for foundation for the rest of the day. So if you are going on social media first thing in the morning, fantastic. You're setting yourself up for a very crappy foundation in the morning where you're waking up already feeling anxious, already feeling like you're comparing yourself to someone else, and all of these other things. If you feel depressed or anxious or inadequate after scrolling, so tune in and start to take note of how social media makes you feel. If you find yourself comparing yourself to others, look at who you're following online and how they make you feel about yourself in your life. If you feel this constant pressure to post or engage constantly and it almost feels like this big heavy weight and burden that you carry all the time, and then you also find that social media is now starting to interfere with work or sleep or personal time, it's time to recheck your relationship with it. There is honestly so much research when it comes to the impact and effect of social media on brain health, so much research connecting it to anxiety, to depression, to FOMO. If you don't know FOMO is the fear of missing out. And when you look at all these people having so much fun in their life, what does it make you feel? It makes you feel like you're missing out on something. And then social media has also been connected to low self-esteem. No surprise there on that. I think it's honestly the worst for entrepreneurs because building your business takes up a lot of time and space and forces you to really have to be alone to do all of these things, especially if you are a solopreneur. And a lot of businesses have started with people who started doing this stuff on their own. And when you have to work a lot on your own, and if you all of a sudden go on social media and you start to see Billy down the street, I don't know, on a freaking yacht in Italy, all of a sudden you're thinking my life sucks. Why am I here? in my room by myself trying to make this thing work. Like, is this thing even gonna work? Is what I'm working on even gonna actually happen? Right? And all of a sudden you're left feeling awful about your life. But if you hadn't seen that, if you had no idea that Billy down the street was on a yacht in Italy, you would feel okay about your life. And it's this comparison trap and this cycle that we get stuck in. And this is why social media is so toxic. Social media and endlessly scrolling on it literally keeps us small in life. It keeps us small and miserable in life. And of course, we can't forget about the dopamine effect of social media, right? When you get that red notification or when you see a photo or video, your brain gets a surge in dopamine. And then when that notification goes away, or if you're looking at that photo or video for too long, then the dopamine starts to go down and then you want your next hit. So what do? Go to the next photo, or the next video, and then you go to the next one, and the next one, and the next one, next one, next one, next one. And then you end up getting stuck in this cycle of endless scrolling because your brain wants more dopamine hits. It wants to feel good. It wants that little surge of that feel-good hormone. And really, the notifications on social media are red for a reason, right? They're red because when your brain sees the color red, it kind of gets this sort of excitement, this surge of like, almost like danger, alert, right? And it kind of wants more of that. And so this dopamine effect literally wreaks havoc in your ability to maximize your potential. Because if you spend your mornings scrolling on social media, are you actually going to want to sit down at your desk and put in hours of work required to build something great? No. You're gonna be so flippin' bored. You're gonna be like, I don't wanna do this. Your brain's gonna be like, no, we don't wanna do this. Go back into bed, lie down, go scroll. Because that is easy hits of dopamine, and your brain wants what is easy. Your brain never wants to do hard things. This is why you have to train your brain to want to do hard things. But if you keep giving your brain these easy dopamine hits early in the morning before you've done anything hard, your brain is not going to want to do any hard things. So important to remember this is short-term gratification, and once your brain gets a taste of that and too much of a taste of that, it will want more. It will continue to want more. And it's this wanting more that puts a lot of us in a dangerous spot, and it makes it difficult for us to sit down, to focus, to concentrate, and to really do great things. The other thing here too that a lot of us don't realize is once you start to give your brain these like short-term gratification, short-term dopamine hits, your brain all throughout the day is going to look for more ways to get these short little hits, right? So your brain will want more junk food. And it's like your impulse control throughout the day will literally go down once you start to give your brain these easy hits of dopamine. Social media also messes with your sleep a lot. So many research studies on this. Being on social media apps before bed actually prevents your brain from getting into a deep rest. And so you wake up in the morning and you feel like you could sleep 100 more hours because your sleep quality wasn't that great. Going on social media also causes a lot of mental fatigue because you're going from one device and one app to the next thing and kind of switching from one thing to the next. It just causes a lot of mental fatigue. And when you're exposed to a lot of negative comments, unrealistic beauty standards, let's be honest, it freaking affects your emotional stability. It really makes it difficult for you to regulate your emotions. And a lot of us, we use social media as a way to regulate our emotions. Whenever we feel sad, whenever we feel any sort of uncomfortable emotion, we go on social media and we use it as a tool to regulate our emotions, which is the worst thing to do, absolute worst thing to do. Because one, you are teaching your brain this emotion is too difficult for you to deal with. And two, you are not actually developing any sort of sense of self-awareness, of self-reflection, or growth. You are simply distracting and numbing. By far, one of the worst things that you can do is to pick up your phone when life feels hard. By far, it is the worst thing that you can do, is to pick up that phone and to go endlessly doom scroll, because you are reinforcing the fact that you can't handle hard emotions. Good luck. Good luck ever trying to achieve anything in life if you feel like you can't handle hard emotions. Hard emotions are a part of achieving great things. And if you want to achieve great things, you better damn well get comfortable with hard emotions. You better freaking get comfortable with sadness, with anger, with frustration, with failure, because all of those emotions and learning how to manage them on a daily basis is a part of great growth. It's a part of great success. And to be honest with you, this is a huge thing that keeps people small their whole lives, is because people don't actually learn how to cultivate skills in their life that are going to help them regulate their emotions. Something so simple. I'm not saying it's easy, but something so simple that we need to learn how to do to be successful, people don't do. And if you don't do it, I'm sorry, but you will never be successful in life. The first step to ending your toxic relationship with social media is to shift your relationship with social media. And start off by looking at, why do you want it? What purpose does the tool social media and these apps serve in your life? Is it to catch up with friends? Is it to grow your business? What purpose is social media serving in your life? A lot of us forget that social media is a tool. It is not our whole life. It is a tool that we should be using in our life. And unfortunately for a lot of us, we should be the master of our tools, but this tool tends to be a master of a lot of us. And when social media is a master of your life, you will never have any control of your life. You will never be able to think independently, to think clearly, to be resilient, to move through the difficulties of life. And you need to remember that as the master of the tool of social media, you should be in control of it, not it control of you. You should not be running to your phone when you have notifications. You should not drop everything when you hear a little ding, boop, bap, beep, whatever it is, because it is your tool. And as the master of this tool, you should determine when is the best time to use this tool, and not just use it every single free moment that you have, because then, my friend, the tool is a master of you. Also, start reflecting on how social media makes you feel. Most of the time when I go on social media, and if I ever go scroll on it, my mindset afterwards is always like, ew, why did I do that? That did not make me feel good at all. And so really start tuning into, do you feel better about yourself, worse about yourself? What are the emotions that social media really elicits within you? Really start to treat social media like a dessert. I've talked about a lot before already about how if you use social media first thing in the morning, you're training your brain to want that short-term gratification. So all day long, your brain is going to look for ways to get that short-term gratification. And instead, what you want to do is you want to treat social media like dessert, aka do it after the hard things. You usually don't have a dessert before dinner, right? You don't have your ice cream pie before you have your veggies and rice and chicken and all that good stuff. You have it after because it's dessert. You eat the nutritious meal first. Treat social media like that. Do the hard things in your day first. Train your brain to do the hard things and start seeing social media as dessert, as cherry on top of the cake that is your beautiful, amazing life, or should feel like that. You also need to understand that these social media apps are meant to be extremely, extremely addictive. And because they're meant to be extremely addictive, you need to create rules and boundaries around it. You probably have rules and boundaries around drugs like cocaine and heroin, and I really hope that rule and boundary isn't, no, I'm not gonna ever do it. And so what is your rule and boundary around social media? Because social media affects the same parts of your brain that drugs affect. So you need to have rules and boundaries around it, or you will become addicted to it, because that's just how good these apps are at hooking us and keeping us addicted to them. So consider the amount of time you go on it and when you go on it in the day. You shouldn't be going on social media all day long. No. Have a certain set time that you go on it. And the later in the day, the better. Think about the accounts that you want to be following. Think about keeping areas in your home where there are no devices allowed. I really try to keep my phone outside of my bedroom. And then even considering, the time limit and using other apps to really set that time limit, because it's that time that we spend on it, unless you're scrolling, and that's what takes away from time that we could be using to do other amazing things in life instead. I also find that a lot of us just unconsciously go and pick up our phones all day long without even thinking about it. How many times you just pick up your phone? I know on iPhone you can look at screen time, but you can also look at phone pickups. And that is something that I've been trying to just lower in my life. Is just how many times I just randomly pick up my phone and just open the lock screen just to see if I have messages. And I'm not necessarily going on an app, a social media app, but I just go and check to see if I have messages. And the amount of times I do it during the day, I really have to catch myself. And when you have that urge to pick up your phone, just pause and ask why. But are you working on a hard task and you feel stuck, so you want to go on a social media app? Are you bored? Are you trying to distract yourself from something? Just pause and ask why, because you're getting this inner urge for a reason. What is it in the real world that feels afraid to you, that feels scary to you to face, that you don't want to, that you're now using your social media app, your phone, to numb yourself? Because that scary, uncomfortable thing is not going anywhere. It's going to be right there as soon as you're done with your phone. And you're actually making it more difficult for your brain to work through that scary, hard, uncomfortable thing by using social media an app first. Because you're training your brain to want the easy hits, the easy feel-good hits first. So pause and tune in and look as to why you have this urge come up. The other thing that I find works really well to help you break out of this toxic relationship with social media is to replace that urge to pick up your phone with something else. So I love to keep a book around. I keep my Kindle around usually. And whenever I have the urge to pick up my phone, I'll go pick up my Kindle and read a couple pages of a book instead. The other thing I want you to think about is how can you regulate your emotions instead of turning to social media? When you feel uncomfortable emotions, can you meditate? Can you exercise? Can you journal instead? Because as I mentioned before, you are using social media to regulate your emotions and you don't even know it. Don't forget to also focus on your real life connections, right? Like call that friend, go out for a coffee date. Ultimately think about how can you make your life so freaking beautiful, so freaking amazing that you don't even think about going on social media. If you make your real life that much more beautiful and amazing and incredible, you will literally never have to worry about having an unhealthy relationship with social media. So look at the things that bring you joy, look at your values, the things that make your life worthwhile and worth living. What are those goals and dreams that you've been pushing off that you can start working towards instead of freaking doom scrolling every single night? The truth is that the more time that you spend doom scrolling on social media, the more that you are letting social media steal precious moments of your incredible life away from you. These are moments that you can spend cultivating healthy relationships with the people around you. These are moments that you can spend learning a new skill. These are moments that you can spend taking care of you. And instead of doing all of that, you let yourself fall into the addictive, toxic trap of social media. So you have a choice. You can either let social media continue to rule your life, or you can step up and do something different about it. And I hope that you choose to do something different about it.